quarterback.
Oh, there's a goal.
So the trade deadline has come and gone in baseball. It was a bit chaotic to say the least. Seismic moves, all-in pushes, and a nuke. There were no survivors where that one struck. The fallout will take care of the wounded. 30 teams each had different objectives depending on their seasons and organizational goals. Some succeeded on this day. Others failed miserably. They didn't understand the assignment at all. Let's waste no more time and get on it. We begin our journey through baseball with the unanimous choices for biggest disappointments in the season. Baltimore and Atlanta. Playoff ambitions. The only hope for them is in the basement. Both took different approaches to the deadline. The Orioles saw the writing on the wall and waved the white flag. Most anyone on an expiring deal is gone. 8 players shipped off to destinations across North America. That includes Cedric Mullins. The good news is the core's still here, but Mike Elias is as well. Those fans aren't exactly happy with that. They can join Braves fans in binge drinking at the bar of misery. What went from disaster only got worse with another injury to Ronald Acuna. The Speedway Classic to Hell symbolized their season. And Riley got injured too, because of course. The team's in complete freefall, and that's putting it nicely. So why the hell didn't they trade anyone? Ozuna and Iglesias could have fetched them something. I know Marcel's a massive piece of shit, but the dude can still hit. What the hell is Anthopoulos doing? Waiting for Snicker to retire? Do something, Atlanta! Besides doubling the salary of your top lawyer, we're looking towards real teams. Look to the rest of the AL East. Well, maybe not Boston. Perhaps they were too busy laughing at San Francisco these past few weeks. Or masking the pain of Marcelo Meyer's wrist injury. They look to fix their pitching holes with pretty much nothing but epic fails. Steven Matz and Dustin May were the only moves they made. They traded James Tibbs for May? Either Breslow still thinks it's 2021 or nobody wants to deal with the fucker. Wait a minute, what am I saying? They got Joe Ryan! Wait, sorry, false alarm. You can recreate the Boston Tea Party by chucking Breslow into the harbor. They can be as uncomfortably aggressive with him as they like. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay did Tampa Bay things. A few of their pieces going out, a few more pieces coming in. That includes Adrian Hauser. I didn't know he was doing that well this season. Everyone knows that Junior Caminero is, though. Griffin Jack should be a solid addition for the pen, too. I'd be optimistic about their chances, especially with new ownership at the helm. But Toronto's been stealing most of their shine. Best team in baseball, at least over the last 2 months. Once again, about goddamn time. Now add to it. Bring in more arms for the push. Sir Anthony Dominguez and Louis Varland for the pen. Shane Bieber is an extra arm for a rotation hungry for more. He's nearing the end of his rehab too. It's a worthy gamble. The Yankees also made some worthy gambles. Their pen has been bolstered, and not just with Jake Bird. David Bednar and Camilo Doval. Relievers with control and at depressed value. Jonathan Caballero and Ryan McMahon for infield depth. But the best additions were subtractions. The evil of Marcus Stroman and Oswald Peraza are gone. No longer will they ruin everything with on-field malpractice. That would go to their new acquisitions blowing a huge lead against the Marlins of all teams. Is this a sign of things to come? A-Rod and Jeets may be pissed, but the rest of baseball's jumping for joy. I think at this point the Tigers are jumping for joy too. They've all but won their shitty division by default. Everyone else is dead. It would take a Minnesota-style collapse for them to fall off. Speaking of that, let's not keep up that post-break skid, shall we? Score some runs, please. No one's coming in to help out there. To be fair, not much coming in general. Paul Sewell, Kyle Finnegan, Chris Paddock, and Ground Chuck. In 2025, I know your team's talented, but where's the urgency? Kansas City's at least trying. I doubt it's gonna do anything, but a chunk of their moves are more for 2026 and further in view. Mike Yastrzemski's a solid get for their outfield. Plus, Bailey Falter should be a decent swing starter in the next few years. They're kind of in limbo right now, much like the Royals' new stadium. To be fair, they ain't the only ones stuck in that muck. I'd say Cleveland's got a shot of doing something this year, but...
Oh my God, Emmanuel, what the fuck have you done, my man? You had one job! One fucking job!
Yep, season's over, time to pack it in. Shane Bieber, thank you for your service over the years, but it's no longer needed. Take a boat up to Canada and report to Toronto. Paul Sewell, time's up on pitching here. And the punt is away! At least you guys kept Stephen Kwan. For now. There were plenty of sellers at the deadline, but Minnesota's a special case. This franchise is now forfeit. To be fair, they have been for a while. Ownership was chicken shit when the time came to supplement their talent. The team's fallen apart since the start of June. The clubhouse has imploded upon itself, and the pull odds are in debt up to their eyeballs. Twins were white hot back in May, but the only thing scorching are flights out of MSP. Byron Buxton's back on the IL. How shocking. To the pull odds, there's only one option. Nuclear. 10 of 26 players blown away in a storm of hate and fury. Even those with significant team control weren't spared. Strong bullpen completely obliterated for the greater good. Carlos Correa dumped off for pennies to his old home. He stuffed $33 million in his pockets for them to take him back. The darkest time for their fans since they were slated for contraction. The T's have returned since they traded their name at the deadline too. With the last one out, please turn off the lights. I'm not joking, they probably can't afford the electric bill. Houston may be strong and in perennial control of the AL West, but a big issue has popped up these past few weeks. Isaac Paredes is out for the remainder of the season. They need a third baseman and fast. It'd sure be nice to get someone like Arenado, but why not get something even better? Carlos Correa's coming home. Each your new third baseman for the remainder of the year. Ramon Urias and Jesus Sanchez are with him for bench bolstering goodness. Correa may be struggling, but it's a time of celebration. Prodigal son deserves a fattened calf to sacrifice for the legendary Texas barbecue feast. Jeremy Pena coming back recently. And when your Don finally returns, they could make serious noise. But the rest of their division might have something to say about that. And those foes? Seattle and Texas. I'm quite impressed by the Mariners, to be honest. Not only did they refuse to live up to infamous narratives, they've chosen to offer legitimate help to their postseason push. All they had to do was take one trip down to Arizona's flea market and secure their bop to the lineup. There's this fine Josh Naylor just sitting here ready to go at first base. Is that what I think it is? A vintage Eugenio Suarez? The Mariners lost theirs a long time ago. This is perfect to bring back. The big dumper finally has more ingredients to use in the kitchen. Now, if George Kirby can regain his form on the road, they'll be in good shape. And if the Rangers can strike while the iron's hot, they can find a way to keep up with the rest of the big boys. They have brought it back under the might of Bochy. Surprisingly not in adding a bat or two, but in bolstering their arms. Hunter Harvey's a decent buy for the pen. Phil Maton and Denny Colombe are as well. But their biggest addition comes from that same Arizona flea market that Seattle went to. Behold, this pristine Merrill Kelly available at discounted price. Only the best for the hottest team in the AL post-break. Perhaps those early concerns about their hitting were overblown. Okay, not really for Adolis Garcia. Evan Carter's back on the IL? Again? Not a big deal. Wait, the Angels bought at the deadline. What the fuck would they buy? The Angels are terrible. Did they not learn from the last few years? Alright, this is Artie Moreno. SOP for that fucker. Carry on. The teams that should buy, however, are the Mets and Phillies. The name of the game for these two was simple. Bullpen arms. Secure as many elite ones as possible in case they face one another in the postseason again. For the Mets to stay ahead of the game, they need support to aid Edwin Diaz in the art of war. Their choices for their next setup men? Tyler Rogers and Ryan Helsley. They cost quite a bit to secure, but remember, Daddy Steve spares no expense. Prospects are merely a stepping stone to greater things. Why wait for them to develop when there's a chance that Cedric Mullins could be impactful for them right now? It might not be his form from 2021, but he's still useful. As for Philly, they got themselves a premium replacement for Alvarado at closer. Yohan Duran. It cost a pretty penny, but with an elite arm like his, Dombrowski doesn't give a shit about that sort of thing. Prospects are lottery tickets today. Duran is a premium asset under team control for a few more years. You have to pounce when opportunity arises. Speaking of Minnesota, Harrison Bader's available for dirt cheap. They could really use his defensive skills in the outfield. Go get it done. These two franchises are tied at the hip, and are most likely on another collision course. Like Harper against Manfred, intensity is to ensue. The NL Central leads to a few more goodies in the box of something. What to say about their deadlines other than underwhelming? The Cubbies especially. You have an opportunity to try and keep up with the big boys of the NL. The deadline went from nearly getting Mackenzie Gore for the rotation to some random arms at Ollie's Wholesale and a DFA for Presley. I mean, maybe Willie Castro's decent for a depth infielder. Michael Soroka isn't expected to be his 2019 form in this rotation, but I just expected more. An extension for Kyle Tucker, perhaps? Well, even since he did more than the Cubs. It wasn't a ton that they did, but it's obvious that they're gunning to finally make it back to the promised land of October. Are they the right moves? Well, Zach Littell for the rotation's pretty good. Keep Brian Hayes as an elite glove but terrible bat will do wonders for infield defense. Plus Miguel Andujar for that 2018 job. Unfortunately, Clint Frazier was not part of a package deal. He was also not sent to Milwaukee. They've taken the reins of the Central, you know that? The Brew Crew's unbelievably torrid. They're doing that whole excellent regular season thing again. And in response, they didn't do all that much. The renaissance of Shelby Miller for the strong pen and Danny Jansen for an extra piece of catcher. It's not the worst deadline in the world. Until Mizorowski took a fastball off his shin and Chirrillo earned a ticket to the IL. Wait a second, I forgot the most important addition. Jordan Montgomery's contract. Ken Kendrick's regret is finally free from his grasp. Hallelujah. Alright, which one of you gave AJ Pro the speedball? You know how he gets when he's in a trade frenzy. He'll go until there's nothing left. Is there even a shred of a chance of beating LA for the division? That means it's adding time. So many pieces to flex the rest of us with. All the fuck in. Betting even his clothes on a fortunate hand. Ramon Laureano and Ryan O'Hearn from Baltimore. Freddie Fermin to have a breathing body at catcher. Mason Miller and J.P. Sears from the A's in the shocker of the century. For a package led by Leo DeVree? Have you lost your mind, AJ? Don't get me wrong. Mason Miller, hell of a player, but he's a bullpen arm. Even if you're gonna stretch him out next year, it's insane. You didn't even need a guy in the pen. It's performing at full speed as of late. Not to mention Robert Suarez and Dylan Cease are still here. But what am I saying? They'll lose to the Dodgers again because, I don't know, a wild goose on the field or something. Oh yeah, the Dodgers. You know the drill with them. Get arms that'll probably fall apart in a few months because that's the price they pay for their blood magic. Dustin May was unfortunately one of the ones that did. But they did get James Tibbs for him. It's mostly depth pieces for them this time. Alex Call from Washington for the outfield and the return of Brock Stewart thanks to the Minnesota Firesale. You better keep scoring those runs, boys. San Diego's hungry for blood. But then again, they always are. Take that as you will. Mookie, get your shit together at the plate and fast. San Francisco has not gotten their shit together. In fact, it's gone to hell in a handbasket. President Posey watches in horror as Oracle Park sinks into the bay. Willie McCovey weeps above the cove in a different dimension. The sins of Farhan are rearing their ugly head. And there's no other choice but to shed expiring contracts. Camilo Doval, frustrating and gone. Mike Yastrzemski, great story, but gone. Tyler Rogers, the Mets offered a shitload for his services. Goodbye. So much for those playoff aspirations you had 2 months ago. Alas, chasing that rainbow's always out of reach. Someday you'll get to that pot of gold again, Giants. In terms of the sellers of this class, they were vast and each had differing goals. The White Sox thought about doing things, but were only able to ship off a handful of players. One of them was not Luis Robert. Wait, Robert is still here? The A's may not have had much to sell, but they did sell. Nobody expected it to be Mason Miller and J.P. Sears, but at that price, it would have been foolish not to take it. Washington didn't do much of anything either, mostly because they're looking for a new regime to fix their woes. Kept on to most of everything except a handful of players. Miami did the same thing. Not much to trade away when most of their team was nuked from orbit last year. There were rumors about shipping off Sandy Alcantara, but the Marlins didn't like the price, so they held on to him for the time being. It's not a big deal. Like Miami's gonna go on this incredible tear to get over 500 or something. Wait, what the hell? Who broke the damn simulation? Not just Miami, but Colorado. They traded players for actual futures. It's years too late for McMahon, but I'll applaud them for taking baby steps in becoming a real franchise. Too bad they'll ruin everything like the Pirates. In a critical deadline, they did the worst thing possible. Have no vision and fuck everything up. It's not in trading Bednar or Hayes, it's what they didn't do. You had better players available for Bednar and admitted it to the press. Bailey Falter was a non-tender candidate with a sub-4 ERA and got traded for scraps. Heaney, IKF, and Pham are still here for some reason. Why wasn't Charrington fired months ago? At least the Cardinals understand their dilemma somewhat. They're trading a few pieces away for the future. Ryan Helsley got them a decent return. Yes, Arenado is still here. Stop asking if he is or not. Also, stop asking if the Diamondbacks are going to get anything resembling pitching. Their season's destroyed. They're trading away Merrill Kelly, as well as Eugenio Suarez and Josh Naylor. Zach Gallen, however, is still here. What a depressing season to go through. All that survives are the teams gunning for playoff aspirations. See you in September, folks.
Have been much more serious. Rips this one through the left side and a base hit. Here comes McLean. Profar will lob it into third, and Austin Hayes has put the Reds on the board in the first inning.